Thanks for inviting us in. It's now 11 o'clock. The frigid water of the Potomac River tonight is a dive site. NBC News reporting crews have now pulled 2 black box data recorders from the wreckage. And in the last 20 minutes, we just got photos of the plane's voice and flight data recorders from the NTSB. Those dive teams are going to be back out there in the morning, working to recover additional victims of last night's crash. 3 soldiers on the Black Hawk and 67 souls on board that American Airlines plane, including crew members, labor union members, elite figure skaters, and a woman from Indiana. Asra Hussein is from Carmel. Asra was an IU grad living in D.C. Hussein's father-in-law told us tonight she was in Wichita for work, a trip she made on a regular basis. Tonight we want you to hear from her husband and the man who officiated her wedding. 26-year-old Asra Hussein was on the airplane that collided with a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. Asra's husband, Hamad, was at the airport to pick up his wife from a business trip.
I always pick her up from departures, and I always help her load the bag into the car and give her a big hug and a kiss, and then off we go. I had dinner waiting at home.
Anchor Lester Holt talked with Asra's husband.
What do you want us to know about your wife?
My wife was such a giver. She gave and she gave and she gave, almost to the point of where she didn't think about herself enough.
Asra married her college sweetheart. Ahmed El Amin officiated the couple's wedding in 2022.
She was very happy, joyful. Not only that she was happy, but she made everyone happy. She made everyone celebrate with her wedding.
The Midair collision leaving so many people grieving.
This is exactly where we need faith. I mean, we need faith all the time, but during this moments, tragic moments, faith is the only thing that we can lean on, and that's where we got our hope from.
Asra's life may have been cut short, but people who knew her believe she had an impact on many.
I believe that she's probably physically gone, but she left a legacy, and her legacy will never die.
14 people on that American Airlines flight were members of the U.S. figure skating community. They were returning from a competition in camp out in Kansas. Young Olympic hopefuls and former Olympians on board the plane. 1994 world champions Zhenya Shishkova and Vadim Novmov. Their friend Elena Lunin has coached figure skating in Fort Wayne for more than a decade. She says they grew up together and competed against each other. Lunin says she got a text from one of her skaters at Nationals telling her what happened.
It's a lot of life lost. It's 12 athletes, young, very talented athletes was on the plane at the same time. So it's plus their family, and it's just heartbreaking.
Zhenya Shishkova and Vadim Nomov coach figure skating out on the East Coast. One of their star students, their son, Maxim. Last Sunday, he placed 4th in the U.S. Figure Skating Championship. His parents celebrated on social media. Maxim flew home safely on Monday. His parents were set to connect in D.C. before flying home to Boston. So how did this happen? This is a question that won't come with quick or easy answers. Tonight, NBC News' Tom Costello digs into those moments right before the crash.
Tonight, a source tells NBC News a preliminary FAA report on the Midair crash indicates staffing at the Reagan Airport Tower was not normal for the amount of traffic at that hour. Normally, one controller handles planes while another controls helicopters. But Wednesday night, one controller was doing both at the time of the crash, though that is acceptable under established FAA standards. Investigators' best clues into what went wrong may rely on those last few words as controllers asked the chopper crew if they could see the CRJ, the regional jet.
S25, CRJ in flight. S25, F1 is CRJ.
This club has a aircraft in flight precision separation.
The response is garbled. Does the chopper pilot say aircraft in sight?
This club has a aircraft in flight precision separation.
If so, why did they collide? Miracle on the Hudson captain Sully Sullenberger says that radio response is critical.
It changed the rules, and it required that they see each other until they were safely clear.
Like many airports, Reagan has had its share of close calls in recent years. March 7, 2023, controllers ordered a United flight to abort takeoff after another plane crossed in front of it. April 18, 2024, a Southwest plane crossed a runway just as a JetBlue flight was preparing to take off. May 30, 2024, a controller canceled takeoff after another airliner was cleared to land on an intersecting runway. Veteran pilots say flying up the river to runway 33 involves staying between 400 and 500 feet, while helicopters should be flying beneath them under 200 feet.
It requires a lot of skill. The runway is very small for an airport that handles this amount of traffic.
The new transportation secretary says last night's flight activity was routine.
This was not unusual with a military aircraft flying the river and aircraft landing at DCA.
Tonight I talked with Indiana Congressman Andre Carson about that crash. He sits on the aviation subcommittee. Carson told me that helicopter seems to have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, broadsiding the airplane. But Carson told me it's important to remember that it's early in the investigation and it's not the time to speculate, saying lawmakers will be talking about what happened in detail and how to keep this from happening again.
Now, those of us on committees of jurisdiction like transportation are trying to get to the root of what needs to happen in terms of making sure that our aviation safety workers are staffed up properly, that we have the proper administrators in there who can get the job done and efficiently and restore some confidence into a workforce that is very stressed right now.
Congressman Carson went on to tell me he expects formal meetings about that crash to begin next week. Well, this investigation is just getting started. There is so much to learn about the people on these aircrafts and what led to that collision. We're going to follow it all. You can find our updates just as soon as we get them over on WTHR.com. Angela?
Scott, just a few showers on this Thursday evening on live Doppler 13 radar. The majority of the steady rain that was falling earlier this evening has pushed off to our east. Just a few spotty showers overhead, but you can see where the steady rain is falling now, along and south of the Ohio River and off to our east. But the back edge of the weather system still back to our west. That keeps rain in play overnight and for the Friday morning drive. The rest of your Friday forecast and a look ahead to the weekend in just minutes.
All right, Angela, we'll see you in a little bit. Tonight, the IPS board responded to that proposed bill in the State House that could dissolve the school district along with 4 others. Parents and educators gave their input tonight as well. And our Logan Gay was at the meeting. So how did it go tonight, Logan?
Well, Scott, parts of the meeting got heated tonight. Many of the people who spoke in front of the board questioned the board members' loyalty to IPS. Thursday, parents, teachers, and IPS supporters packed the school board meeting to discuss the future of the district. Some people in the room feeling the need to remind the school board members why they should be against House Bill 1136, pushing them to fight back harder.
We need to demand the state to fund traditional public education to its fullest extent.
Under the bill, public schools will transition to charters in districts where 50% or more of students are enrolled in charter schools. Some speakers at Thursday's meeting argued this is the exact opposite direction the district should be going.
It saddens me to hear people who've never stepped foot in our schools or our neighborhoods, don't even live in Indy, tear down our school, going so far as to suggest doing away with it altogether.
With the documented failures of charter schools, 1/3 have closed since 2001, and without the transparency, access, and accountability of public schools, our businesses will find it harder to find reliable, skilled employees. Our communities will continue to be unsafe.
I do not trust in the privatized institutions and corporations to be responsible for my child's education in the form of charter schools.
Others even question the loyalty of some of the board members.
Okay. I have some questions for the board members. How much were each of you paid by charter schools to let them overtake the districts? How many campaigns were funded by charters while you claimed to oppose them?
But to remind people where they stand, the board read a unified statement reinforcing where they stand with the community, with the students, and on House Bill 1136 and other proposed legislation that could impact the future of public schools.
This harmful legislation would strip communities of their voice and destabilize our financial foundations. IPS must remain a public school option for the community we serve. House Bill 1136 is a non-starter.
The IPS board also discussed their opposition to Senate Bill 518, which would split revenue from property taxes between district and charter schools within the IPS boundary, and House Bill 1501, which would move oversight and ownership of all IPS facilities and transportation to two separate appointed authorities. To read the full statement from the board and their opposition of these bills, visit our website, WTHR.com.